Several countries have undergone significant revolutions that radically altered their political, social, and economic structures. Key examples are French Revolution, which dismantled the old regime, and the Russian Revolution, which abolished the monarchy and established a socialist government, and the American Revolution, in which 13 colonies fought for their independence from British rule. Today, we will be discussing about the revolutions that changed the face of the world. First is American War of Independence. Great Britain regulated trade in American colonies to such a great extent that there was growing annoyance among the settlers at the controls and checks imposed upon them. There were acts of rebellion, and this hostility fled into war on 19th April 1775, when shots were exchanged in Lexington. The first battle of war was fought at Bunker Hill, Charlestown, in which Britain won. They also scored decisive victories in New York, 1776, and Philadelphia, 1777. But the American Continental Congress had appointed George Washington, 1732 to 99, to take charge of the untrained American soldiers, and he inspired them to fight for their freedom. Further inspiration was provided on July 4th, 1776, when the Congress issued the Declaration of Independence draft by Thomas Jefferson. The Declaration renounced allegiance to the British throne and resolved that these united colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states. Americans were aided in their fight by British enemies in Europe, and in 1777, the British General Burgoyne, 1723 to 92, was forced to surrender at Saratoga. In 1781, General Cornwallis, besieged at Yorktown by the French ships, which prevented aid from reaching him by sea, surrendered, and the War of Independence ended. America was granted its independence in 1783, and George Washington was elected the first president of United States. Second is Greek War of Independence. The Turkish Empire included Southeast Europe and the Middle East. The Greeks were the first people to revolt against the Turks in 1821. Russians supported the Greeks. Britain and France also joined in supporting the Greeks in 1827. All the three countries joined together to destroy the Turkish Empire, and the Turks were forced to yield. The Greeks achieved independence in 1830. Third is Belgian War of Independence. When Napoleon was defeated in 1814, Belgium reunited with Netherlands as one kingdom. The union with the Dutch was not accepted in Belgium, although both the people had much in common. Problems arose out of differences in religion, language, and social customs. Under the Dutch king, the Belgians felt that they were being regarded as the second-class citizens. This led to riots against Dutch rule in 1830 and quickly developed into a full-scale mass revolution. The Belgians declared their independence in 1830 and drew up a national constitution in 1831, inviting Leopold of Saxe-Coburg 1790 to 1865 to become their first king. Fourth is French Revolution. In the 18th century, France was under the despotic rule of King Louis XVI, who was not only inexperienced but also weak, feeble, and lacked administrative capabilities. The commoners were awakened by the French philosophers of the time who attacked the church, the crown, and the old traditions of despotic rule. Montesquieu, 1689 to 1755, was dead against the divine right theory of kings. Voltaire, 1664 to 1774, exposed the tyranny and arbitrary practices of the king, abuses of the church, and social inequalities. Montesquieu, Voltaire Rousseau, 1712 to 1778, were the 18th century philosophers of France who, through their writings and ideologies of liberty, equality, and fraternity, prepared the nation for this great revolution of France. The King Louis XVI was charged with treason and executed on January 21st, 1793. French Revolution made France republic and also gave new direction to the oppressed people of their countries, helped, advocated, and furthered the cause of liberty, fraternity, and equality by awakening people against despotic rules in their countries. Fifth is Russian Revolution, 1917 to 1922. The Great Revolution in Russia took place in two stages. The first stage of Russian Revolution began in February 1917 with the overthrow of the Tsar Nicholas II. The second stage in October of the same year led to the establishment of the world's first communist state by the Bolsheviks under Lenin. With the spread of socialism, the middle class exploited the laborers and workers, which worsened their economic condition. Under these circumstances, the principles of Karl Marx had a very great impact on society, which enabled setting up of Workmen's Social Democratic Party in 1895. Karl Marx's ideology advocated a classless society. In 1917, during the Great Russian Revolution, the party came under the leadership of Lenin. Lenin, who was deeply influenced by the principles of Karl Marx, took over the leadership of the Bolshevik Party. The unity of laborers and peasants under the leadership of Lenin made the revolution a success. The sixth is Islamic Revolution in Iran, 1979. People demanded a government based on Islamic principles. This led to fierce fighting and rioting, which the government could not control, and the Shah of Iran began to lose his grip. In January 1979, Shah and his queen left the country. In February 1979, a revolutionary government took over under the leadership of Ayatollah Khomeini, and Iran was proclaimed an Islamic Republic. Seventh is creation of Bangladesh. Elections in Pakistan in 1970 resulted in a split between the Punjabis of West Pakistan and the Bengalis of East Pakistan. By March 1971, the tension between the two groups had escalated. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, 1920 to 75, of East Pakistan, and his separatist party, the Awami League, launched a civil disobedience movement and called for independence. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman was nominated President of Bangladesh while in jail and returned to Bangladesh in January 1972 to a stimulus welcome. Eighth is Independence of Zimbabwe. Britain's last African colony, Rhodesia, became independent republic, the new black-ruled nation of Zimbabwe, at midnight on April 17, 1980, under the prime ministership of Robert Mugabe. The transfer of power to the black majority ended 15 years of turmoil, violence, bloodshed, and guerrilla warfare in Rhodesia. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel.